Well, today we have a monster piece. This comes to us from Colin Bernreuter. I hope I'm pronouncing that correctly, Colin. He believes it's elm. He sent it from Michigan all the way across the country, and here it is. You ever seen a piece of wood like that? Not very often. I'm showing it to you here because, of course, I can't lift it. Well, I can, but it's a chore. There's the tree, and there's the burl. And we're going to try and turn it. That's going to be the bottom. Somewhere up here is going to be the top. I'm still debating how to turn it, how to mount it, all of that. And I've been looking at this for a while. Colin sent this 3-4 months ago, and I've looked at it maybe every couple of weeks since then, planning and thinking and whatnot. And today's the day. It's not all that large. It looks large. It's about 12 by 13 by 10. So I'm going to put it on my drill press table, drill a flat spot up here on top. It's going to take me a while to do that. I'm not going to show it to you because it's going to be very, very awkward. It's going to take quite a little bit of time. Well, I knew you'd be interested in this, so I've already drilled 2 series of holes. This one here is 3 1/8. I'm going to 3 1/2, so I'll do 3 1/4 next and then 3 1/2 after that. I've got my column clamp on here. I've covered that column clamp in other videos. You can't buy them anymore unless you find it on eBay, a used one or new old stock or something, but they don't make them anymore. So I'll do that 2 more times with larger bits, and then I'll put a faceplate ring on there and I'll bring you back. So now I have my faceplate ring mounted. So this has a dovetail on the inside right here, which meshes with the dovetail on my chuck jaws. So if I can hold that there long enough to open these chuck jaws into it, I can't even see them. I'm not certain I've got it on there. Oh boy, it's going to be out of balance, isn't it? I guess we had to expect that. Well, we're going to be turning at a whopping 280 RPM for a while at least. 5/8 inch bowl gouge, mask, and face shield on. Oh boy, this is going to take a while. Well, we're getting there, aren't we? Got to be optimistic. It's going to happen. Yeah, I'm gonna turn the camera off. I'll bring you back when I have some kind of progress. I won't let you miss too much, but this is just gonna be slow going and kind of boring. I'll be back. Well, it's only been a couple of minutes. I'm gonna start working on this corner where a lot of the weight is over here and see if I can't get this more into balance so that I can pick up the speed just a touch. But, you know, I'm touching just about everywhere now. Hopefully we won't have to remove much more down here, and we can still leave this that kind of delineates it from the rest of the piece. I've already sharpened once, and I'm probably going to go do it again in a minute. Can you see that chatoyance in there? I don't know if you can see it. I can see it really clearly. Some here. We won't see it in the end grain, but we're getting there, aren't we? I'll bring you back later. I'm going to go sharpen up and just keep at it for a while. I don't want to go much further than I have here. I guess it's getting more in balance. I don't think I can pick this bead up any, but maybe. A little. About 310. I'll bring you back in a bit. Okay, I think I've got the bottom just about flat enough for a tenon. Like I said, I wanted to try and keep some of this so that you can see that it was a log or a tree. I'm going to mark out for my larger tenon, so it needs to be about 3.5 inches. There we go. So that'll be the size of our tenon. I'm going to go sharpen up and get back at it. Now, on my last video, I got asked the same question twice, and I've never been asked that question before in nearly 400 videos. No one's ever asked the question. The question was, if I start out with a flat bottom and then make a tenon, and then when I go to remove the tenon, why do I check for clearance if I'm already flat? Well, I'm flat, but I'm not done. This isn't done. This isn't smooth. I have to clean this all up. So this tenon is going to be sticking out beyond the bottom of the bottom. This'll be what the piece sets on once it's all said and done. But it's not done. This isn't done yet. I gotta clean it up with chisel work, and then I'll be sanding it, and it'll be getting shorter and shorter and shorter going that way. I just thought it was odd that I got asked the same question twice. So I hope that helps. Now I'm gonna use this diamond point tool to square up the sides of the tenon. You know, I'm starting to think this wood is wet. I checked it before I started and it was about 12 or 13%, but it kind of feels wet. It kind of turns wet. I can't remember what Colin said, how long ago it was cut down. Maybe he didn't say. Got a pretty healthy crack there, but it's not going to go away. I suppose this base is a little bit wider than it needs to be. Okay, I think I've gone as far as I want to go. I'm going to shear scrape. Okay, that's better than it was. I'm getting tired, boys and girls. This is Saturday night, tomorrow is New Year's Eve. Alright, time for sanding, but that might wait till tomorrow. I'll see. No, I won't see. Sanding tomorrow. Have a good evening. I'm going to start the sanding with my Sandoflex. This is 120 grit, and then I'll do 180 grit and stop there. And as you can see, there's plenty of material for me to sand with this. When I'm done with that, I'll switch to my 2-inch disc starting at 80 grit, and there's still plenty of material to sand with that as well. And I don't know if you can see it there, I don't know if the light's catching it, but even as rough as this is, and I think it's rough because it's still wet, there's plenty of chatoyance in there. This is going to be a pretty piece. I do have a big crack here. I'm going to wait until it's all sanded, and I'm going to put sanding sealer on it, and then I'll fill this crack with probably coffee grounds and CA glue. So I'll show you what both of those look like as soon as I get my mask on. That's going to take quite a little while, but that's what it looks like. Then with the lathe spinning in reverse at about 300 RPM. That's going to take quite a little while as well. Like I said, up through 400. I'll bring it back when it's time to put some sanding sealer on there. See you in a bit. Well, are you ready? I've been sanding on this for parts of 2 days. Not 8-hour days, but a goodly amount of time. I don't know how many hours, probably 6. It's big, and it's I don't know how to describe it. It was difficult. All this up here and down there, and the inclusions and whatnot. It just takes a lot of time. Look at this part right here. It looks like marble to me, huh? Pretty cool looking. While I'm doing this, there's something I'd like to talk to you about, if you don't mind indulging me for a little bit. And that is product reviews. I don't do a lot of them. It kind of comes with the territory of having a YouTube channel that companies contact you and want you to review their product. And I can't begin to tell you how many I turn down. Tons of them. Just tons of them every day. But sometimes a product comes along that I think, first of all, that I'll like. Maybe I'll love it. And if I love it, maybe you'll love it. And I don't see any problem with showing you that product and telling you what I think of it. Some people do see a problem with it. I guess they think that I only have one interest, and that's wood turning, and that's what I should stick to. Well, I'm like anyone else. I have other interests. And for years, I didn't make a dime off of this channel. All I did was produce videos because I wanted to. Mostly, I guess, well, absolutely. The reason is because this is how I learned how to turn wood, is watching YouTube videos. And I watched hundreds of them and hundreds of hours of them and many different turners. And I think the one I learned the most from was Captain Eddie. I don't think he's making videos anymore. He had some health issues, serious health issues that kind of sidelined him. But I'll tell you what, he sure knows his wood turning. So sometimes they want to send me stuff that I think will be of interest to you and that I think I'll want. If I don't want it, I'm not gonna show you something that I'm not interested in, because I'm not going to come across as being interested in it. And I wouldn't show you anything that I thought was not good. And that's part of the reason I turned down a lot of these things. Medical devices, oh my gosh. I thought the quackery phase of our life was over, but oh my, they're out there. They're alive and well, I'll tell you. and I'm just not going to have any part of that. But things like lasers are interesting to me. That doesn't mean they're interesting to everyone. I get that. The viewing audience has bought some of the lasers that I've demonstrated. And of course, that's the goal of the advertisers, is to sell more of them. That's not my goal. My goal is to get one for my own personal use and to share it with you. And I've been sent woodworking tools, bandsaw, table saw, drill press, belt sander, chainsaw, and every time I do one of those types of videos, then other companies see it and they want me to do theirs, and I generally don't do that. And then electric bicycle. Now there's something I was interested in before they ever offered it to me, and I would have bought one eventually. Maybe this coming summer I would have bought one, but they sent me one, late fall, I guess. I did a review video of one right when the weather started to turn. I did have a couple of good days where we shot some video, my son-in-law Kelvin and I, riding that bike and having a good time. And I'm a firm believer in it, mostly because my audience is generally older and maybe doesn't get the exercise we should, and that seemed like a good, easy way to me to get exercise. You know, you can pedal them if you want to, and you can just use the throttle if you want to. And for me, I was always afraid I'd get stuck on a hill or something. I like riding bikes, but I'm old, and I was afraid I'd get stuck somewhere and have to push it home. So my goal is to pedal as much as I can, and when I get tired, just use the throttle. That just makes sense to me. And then at the end of a long ride, you can just use the throttle to get home. And that was something I thought you folks would be interested in, and a lot of you were. I don't know that, well, yeah, I guess I know that one person bought a bike from that. And I don't get any money when I do that sort of thing. I just get the product. Well, so why am I telling you all this? Yeah, I've got another review video coming up, and it's going to be an electric bike. And my son-in-law Kelvin and I were riding it yesterday, and it's a doozy. It's going to give me the ability to share that extra bike with my family. So maybe I won't have to go riding by myself. Some people just plain get mad, tell me they're going to unsubscribe. They tell me, one guy said, "Thank you for prostituting yourself. Now I'm not going to watch you anymore." I always, at the end of the title of any review video, I always put, "not wood turning." So if you choose to watch it and then gripe at me, that doesn't make any sense. My review videos come out on Wednesday. My wood turning videos come out on Thursday. Many of you really like the review videos, and you like listening to me rattle on about whatever it is I'm rattling on about. And I can't tell you how much I appreciate that. An old man doesn't get a whole lot of attention like that. This is sanding sealer, shellac-based sanding sealer, and I'm going to apply 2 coats of this, I guess it's going to take. This is very, very smooth, except it is smooth, but in the textured areas, the unturned areas, you can certainly feel that. And I think it's going to look pretty nice. I'm not looking forward to turning the inside. It's going to be difficult. I'm not looking forward to sanding the inside. That's going to be a royal pain. So let me know what you think of what I just said to you, all that stuff. Let me know if it irritates you. Let me know if you think I shouldn't take these things that are of interest to me and hopefully to you. I'm not out to offend anyone, but I'm not stupid either. My audience, you folks right there, are incredibly important to me. You're the reason I get out of bed every day. Your comments, I love reading them. I read every single one of them. And you want to make a bad comment? That's fine. Everybody's not going to like everything I do. I get that. Goodness gracious. I'm all grown up now. Okay, so there you go. Let me know what you think of this so far. I'm going to be finishing this for the rest of the day. So I told you I'm going to fill that with coffee grounds and CA glue. See you tomorrow. I have the piece turned around with the tenon mounted up in the chuck. I've got a beautiful smooth finish on the outside. I'm really happy with it. There's a couple of problems. One, I can't use my regular bowl gouge because the tailstock is in the way. I could do a little bit, but I'll get to carbide sooner or later, mostly sooner. So I'm just going to start with carbide. I'm just going to do probably the whole thing, or maybe I'll get into a gouge once I get inside and once I have the tailstock removed. I don't know, but for now I'm going to use just carbide. The other problem is here, there's a big gap in the outside of the bowl, right here. And that goes in there about 1.5 inches, maybe close to 2 inches down here, I guess, about 2 inches. So if I try and keep a solid bowl with no cracks in the side or no gaps or openings in the side, then we're going to have really thick walls, 1.5-inch thick walls. So I think we're just going to have an opening in the side of our bowl. I just can't have walls that thick. So just expect an opening in the side here. Maybe we'll put a light down inside and let it shine through here. I don't know. It's just one of those things when you're dealing with natural type woods like this. It happens. I'm only going to be turning at 450 RPM. I've got that little tiny cutter. It's just going to take a long time. So 450 RPM, hollowing tool, mask and face shield on. I've been making pretty good progress, but it's taken a long time to get there. This right here, this is where that gap is, right here. And this right here is paper thin. In fact, there is a gap now. You can see light. You see light through there? The reason I stopped there is because if I keep on going, this is going to be gone. And I'd just as soon keep it. It's so thin that I might not be able to keep it by the time I sand that. So I was just going to go keep tapering in from that point down. Just get back to it. Well, I've made some progress, haven't I? I've got about 2-inch thick bottom at the moment. I'll take that down another 1.5 inches, have about a 1/2 inch bottom. We've got a big gap here. Hello. Here, we got really thin, and it did separate. These two pieces separated. But the thing about it is they're stronger now separated than they were when they were together. It was very, very thin here. Very thin. This thing's holding up pretty dang well. It doesn't give me smooth cuts, that's for sure. I might go in there with my gouge pretty soon and see if I can't smooth some of this down. But I wanted to get to the bottom before I did that. So I'll just keep working at it. A little issue with the sanding. I knew it was going to be a problem. On my drill, I normally use this little tiny extension. It's a 2-inch extension, quick connect, but I couldn't reach all the way in there. So I grabbed this gizmo, which is helping a lot. It's just longer, but it's not good. I haven't been able to sand it while spinning. So I'm wondering, well, how am I going to do this better than I've been doing it, which is just like that, which takes forever. So, Tuffy Martinez to the rescue once again. Over the years, Tuffy has done several prototypes for me. I gave him an idea, but this is his design and his work making this thing. And with this, I can get to the bottom easily, but in this particular case, because it's a pretty wide bowl, I can get all the way up the sides as well. If I couldn't, then Tuffy made a second one to do the sides. That works really good, but I don't need it for this venture. And Tuffy does not sell these. He just made these prototypes, and he's made about 6 of them over the years for me, and finally ended up with these two designs that work in combination really well. A machine shop approached him and said, you know what, we'd like to make those and sell them. So Tuffy said, okay. And they said, can we use your name? And he said, okay. So they made a website, and they made a bunch of these, and they sell them along with refills. all pre-folded, ready to go. And if you're interested in those, I don't get anything to tell you this, and Tuffy doesn't get anything if I tell you this. He's just lending his name to it and his skill in making them. But go to Tuffy Martinez, M-A-R-T-I-N-E-Z, M-A-R-T-I-N-E-Z.com. Tuffy Martinez to get your set of sanders. And these have bailed me out more than once, I can tell you. Isn't that easy? And it doesn't catch on anything. There's this big gap here that I was dreading sanding with my 2-inch disc. I know it would get caught in there. It wouldn't be pretty, but this doesn't get caught. And it's just so super simple to use. I haven't tried it, but I guess you could use it in reverse as well. Yep, easy peasy, lemon squeezy. So I will continue working up through 400 grit. I'll bring you back here in a bit and we'll put some sanding sealer on there. See you in a bit. I think I would have to say this is my most difficult, most time-consuming piece maybe ever. I did one before I had a channel that took me parts of 3 weeks to get done. I kept giving up on it and then going back to it, and so I can't really say I worked 3 weeks on it. And it was larger than this, but not as deep. It was deep. I think it's 6 inches, and this one's what, 9 inches on the inside. Certainly a very large burl, isn't it? You don't get them this big. I don't get them this big. Okay, so that's the first of 2 coats of sanding sealer. Then I'll put on 2 coats of shellac. I'll bring you back and we'll take the tenon off. See you in a bit. This has been an ordeal, but we're nearing the end and I'm so happy about that. I've mounted a block of wood up in my chuck, kinda. This is an adapter that Tuffy Martinez made for me years ago to hold different pieces of wood that I can't get to otherwise. But it turns out perfect for what I need here because this bowl is so deep. If I didn't have that, when I placed the bowl up there, it would hit the headstock. So this gives me a nice extension. Not what he intended it for, but it's perfect. So thank you again for that, Tuffy. Bring up my tailstock. This is really heavy, so it's hard to hold here. I still have my center hole there for reference, so I can drive my live center into that. Bring up my tool rest. Spin the piece up, see if it's running anywhere near true. It's hard to tell because, like I said, the piece is wet. And so this may have misshapen since I first turned it. It may have dried kind of crooked. I got a crack in there and it hits my thumb and bounces away. So I think it's close enough. Spin the piece up, about 420 RPM. I'm going to grab a 1/2 inch bowl gouge and begin to commence to removing that tenon. Which, by the way, sticks out below this because all the sanding to this that I didn't do to that brought this down about probably, well, see it's sitting there 3/16 of an inch. So I will check for clearance, and we barely have clearance. Actually, not quite yet. Now I think we do. Yep. I'm going to switch to a 3/8 inch bowl gouge so that I can get in there a little better. And now I'm going to switch to a 3/8 inch swept back bowl gouge so that I can get in there closer. Now I'm applying the bevel of the gouge against the bottom of the bowl, pressure towards the headstock, right hand on the gouge, left hand on the switch. And we're done. Oh, wee baby, and I'm afraid that's gonna drop when I do that. Heavy, heavy, heavy. Trying to find a place I can grab it here. Okay, now I'll just take this over here to the workbench, sand that up, sign it, get it finished, and I'll be right back. Be sure you stick around at the end of the video so you can see the before and after shots of this piece. I'm sure they're quite dramatic. If you'd share the video, I'd really appreciate that. People need to see a burl attached to the tree still, in the beginning at least. This was quite a turning for me, and here it is. One elm burl natural edge bowl in the books. What do you think of that part? It's kind of hard to maneuver this thing. I think my favorite part is here. So when you're looking at, if that's the front, then you still see the cool part back here. But it's got a lot to see, a lot of nice grain inside and out. And there's the bottom all finished up one way or another. And that's where the tree went through. This was two sides of it, and this was two sides of it, because the bark was still on it, and the bark is still there. I don't know if you see any critters in this one. There ought to be some, huh? Animals, people, faces, whatever. Pretty grain, all burl all the time. I really hope you like it. It was a lot of dang work, I can tell you that. If you do like it, let me know in the comments. If you don't like it, let me know in the comments, but tell me why you don't like it. I have to like it. I've got hours and hours invested in this. Heck, it took an hour just to sand the bottom up. Cool looking though. Thank you, Colin Bernreuter, for sending this along all the way from Michigan for all to enjoy. If you like this video, thumbs up please. I'd sure appreciate it. If you're a subscriber, thank you very kindly. I truly appreciate that. If you're not a subscriber, you might consider becoming one. I put out regular videos about one a week, and I'd like to keep in touch. An easy way to subscribe is just click my picture you see there near the end of the video. Your comments are always welcome, and I love reading them. So for now, this is Phil, Shady Acres Woodshop, signing off.